Let's make sure that worked on Twitter. It sure did. Let's go, Timmy. All right, we're live here. We're talking my new favorite athletic department, new favorite athletic director, Tulane. This week coming out, or I guess last week coming out and saying they're going full force on name, image, and likeness.
Yep.
Let's go. Timmy, just like every podcast, this podcast is brought to you by Our City Coffee. Use our code BS at ourcitycoffee.com and get 15% off the best damn coffee you're going to get all over the United States. That's BS at ourcitycoffee.com. So I'm scrolling through Twitter the other day. Oh, geez. Hey, hello. Accidentally.
It's nice. It's nice going live and hearing you do a live read like that.
You like that? It was a live, like a true live read. So I'm scrolling through Twitter the other day. And I see a retweet from the Andy Staples show. Andy Staples, he had on Tulane AD Troy Dannon and Gabe Feldman, who I need to look at this to get the correct title, the director of sports of the sports law program at Tulane.
Yep.
And I immediately sent it to you. I say, hey, listen to this. There's some great stuff in it. And I just saw a couple highlights initially, and then I went back and listened to the 30-minute podcast. But I was blown away at how ahead of everybody else Tulane is, especially the athletic director to come out and speak like this. You know, we've talked to, like we've said, dozens of teams, schools over the last couple of weeks. We've more been focused on teams. So, you know, football, men's basketball, women's basketball. And I've not seen anyone anywhere near where Tulane is. And I'm going to read you some of these comments here. This is my favorite quote right here. It's incumbent upon us as athletic administrators and as institutions to make our student athletes have a chance to capitalize. We try to do everything we can for them to capitalize on their physical gifts, their academic gifts. Why not their gifts that would benefit them financially? Boom.
Yep.
I love that. And it's not, and that's when this opens up. The name, image, likeness part opens up. Now he's talking the process of it is the tools of it. This is the marketing and branding that they're going to start right when school starts. So they're starting this in August. And that's, you know, obviously includes all the stuff that we talk about where it's more than making dollars. It's creating a business, yourself being that business, learning how to market, how to brand, all of these things that go into what will end up benefiting them with a name, image, likeness.
Yeah, no, like we said last time, like this is it's kind of crazy. You're gonna have your Tulanes. You're gonna have your handful of schools that are in the Tulane category as far as like their sports. Yeah. And you're gonna see those guys. They're gonna jump some of the bigger guys because a lot of the bigger guys, especially if the schools are operating from a department down scenario. So like unless you get like a bigger school that can operate as just a football program or just a basketball program and they can run without the department approval. But a Tulane is going to be 10 times ahead of a lot of the bigger schools that were ahead of them, and they're going to get some bigger recruits, and it's going to be a trickle-down effect. No problem.
Yeah, I love what Gabe said on the podcast. Gabe was talking about how this can level the playing field. I mean, of course, they've got, and he talked about this too, there's tiers within college athletic programs or college athletics, period. Whether you have, you know, footballs, your Alabamas, your Clemsons are at the top right now, your basketballs, your Kentucky, your Dukes type places. But this is a way to really even the playing field. One thing he pointed out too, and this is part of our pitch we've had to other places, is maybe they'll go to Tulane because they can play day one and they're in New Orleans, a big time city, a passionate city, as opposed to going to a bigger school and not play for 2-3 years. Now that's been a part of recruiting pitches forever. But now you've got something behind it. It's dollars, it's marketing, it's branding, it's lifetime. I don't know what the word I'm looking for there is, but a lifetime of benefit.
Yeah.
There was a word, but I didn't have the word. So benefit. It does work. He also said, and he being Troy Dannon, the AD, we have a responsibility to our 350 plus student athletes to educate them on name, image, and likeness and provide them with whatever support is permissible by legislation. My new favorite AD. I love this. I love where they can take it. He gets it. They get it. They're talking about entrepreneurship, about how this is so much more, again, than just name, image, likeness getting paid, but it's about education. And even just stepping back a little bit, education period in general at schools. is becoming much more hands-on. Do actually what we're talking about. It's not just papers and looking up at screens. This is a way to do it and actually get your hands dirty, and the business ends up being yourself.
Yeah, I think that's you're right with the hands-on, and that's where they see it too. It's not a robot, it's not a computer, it's not something just spitting out information to you, because this is completely new for every single program. It's completely new for every single 18 to 22-year-old, including coaches. Coaches are going to learn how to have to do this too.
Yeah.
So you need somebody, you need multiple people being able to massage this up a little bit. Like there's a lot of learning going on, so you need to be able to almost like a coach slash professor slash AD all in one to kind of package this together.
I didn't see this in there. I wonder if where the education for staff and coaches comes into all this, if they're really going to be a part of that trickle down. And if there is a, like, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to teach and educate coaches and staff, and then next step is players from there. Or if it'll be kind of a hands-off situation. I don't know.
In the podcast, they almost seemed like it was like the center of, I can't remember, the sports or whatever, and then partnering. So it might only, from their standpoint, I think the coaches should definitely be involved, especially right now. They have to understand the education. They have to understand the recruiting. They have to understand all these things.
Yeah.
Hands-on day-to-day, it's like, I get it. They're going to be busy, and that's where you need someone to handle that day-to-day, maybe a leader within there, like the director of ops or, someone like that who can kind of control everything and be the liaison internally. But, yeah, the coaches are definitely going to need to, especially up front this next, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, definitely. And I like too, from the recruiting pitch, again, we think this is the biggest part of recruiting moving forward, but the athletic director talked about it too. Troy said, Andy, who was the podcast host, asked him about Sean King, who played there at Tulane. He was a big time player for the Bucs in the NFL for a handful of years, and talked about how big he would have been. He said, yeah, I mean, that stuff like that and examples like that should be a part of recruiting pitches now. He said, I'd be surprised if our coaches aren't on the road, or virtually on the road as people are now. I'd be surprised if our coaches aren't out pitching this already. And they should be. The fact that we're going to be 100% behind this, support them, and be out in front of all this.
Yeah.
I love this. Anything else you want to add, Tim? We said let's talk about this. This is an opportunity for us to showcase the first school that we've seen really come out and put together from an athletic department or athletic director down a plan. This is how we're going to help educate our players moving forward. This is important. They deserve it. This is an opportunity for us to be ahead of it, and let's do it.
Yeah, I think that that's the important thing is, like, clearly this has been in the works for several weeks. To be able to say that we've already implemented, like it's going on, and that's talking to all these a handful of different schools is we need to implement this now. We need to implement this now, not starting in October, starting in January. It needs to start now, and I think that's one thing that priority number one with most departments, with most schools and coaches is COVID, how to onboard the athletes. Priority number two should be this: what's going to happen with NIL, what's going to happen with marketing, branding, because that's going to trickle down real fast too.
Yep. And again, it's not just about that name, image, likeness piece. Come next year, it's about teaching, education, personal branding, marketing, set them up for success over the long term. And if they are going to be at the school next year, when this does open up, then set them up for success to get paid in college. If not, you're setting them up for the real world experience and what they're going to learn from what they do starting next month or starting in August when all their program begins.
Yep.
All right, Timmy. We appreciate your time today. Thank you for listening. Hey, well, I was saying, like, to the audience, I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate your time, I guess. On the next podcast, we talk about whether or not this name, image, likeness is a civil rights issue or not. Thank you for listening.